What is up, App Nation? Welcome to another Friday YouTube live stream. I'm here. It's Jesse. It's going to be 107 degrees today, so that's why I'm a little casual. Unfortunately, I don't want to be too hot and being all in like a collared shirt, but I'm super excited to have you guys on. Thank you guys for coming. I see a lot of people, first timer. Moti, welcome, man. Today we're going to talk all about A/B testing on the app stores. What's really going to make an impact on your A/B test? Should you test your app icon? Should you test your screenshots? Then does a app preview video work better versus just having screenshots? And does the iOS description matter at all? Should we just put in long description and leave it at that? But today we've got a great guest. He is the co-founder of Geeklab, and you guys can check him out. But what into the description below, but what they allow you to do, and I'm going to show you their website real quick, Geeklab right here, geeklab.app. And what they allow you to do is just do all those A/B tests. So you want to A/B test your screenshots, you want to A/B test your app icons, you can do that through their platform. So go check them out, geeklab.app. But without further ado, he is the co-founder of Geeklab, Jesse, and I'm going to try it right now. Jesse Lempiäinen, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was really close. Yeah, like it's well, as you can see, I'm wearing a sweater, so definitely not in. It's 107 degrees here. We're actually based in Finland, so it's well, it's still summer, but it's getting a bit colder every night, unfortunately. So hence the sweater. And hence the very hard last name, but you did well. You did well.
Well, I want to give a shout outs to a few people, Jesse. Andy, what's happening, my friend? We've got Moonshades, the game. I think we looked at the thing. Yep. Moti, hi, first time. Moti, you might be on the wrong channel. He said, hi, Eric. Eric from Overpass Apps. He does a YouTube live stream every Friday at 9 a.m. So Moti, I'm not Eric. If you want Eric, you got to go to his channel, but welcome. If you want to talk about black hat techniques, we can talk about that as well. Mantify is here. And then Andy, good morning. How's it going? Well, welcome back. Dimitrios, we got your app. So I've got it locked and loaded on my phone. We're going to take a look at that. And then Swatish, what's happening? All right, and we got some questions going on here. But Jesse, you were telling me before we started that something happened with Fortnite yesterday.
Yeah, man. It's fighting the urge to go to Twitter all the time and read what's happening, but I'm not gonna like even pretend that I know everything around this topic. But so basically, well, Fortnite does not exist in App Store nor Google Play anymore. So Fortnite decided to take a stand against Apple's and Google's platform cuts. So 30% of the IAPs, and promoted, like they had a pop-up, an in-game update and a pop-up that asked players to go to their store instead and buy the in-game currency from there and get a 30% discount if they do that. And that was against Apple guidelines as well as Google guidelines. And because of that, Apple removed Fortnite once and for all from the store, as well as then a few hours later, Google did the same thing. Epic even released like a video. Well, you gotta watch it, but it has this Apple, like literally an Apple pretending to be a dictator or something in this 80s nor wipe video, and at the end of it they say that they're taking a stand against Apple in this matter, and they're gonna fight for it. And they even put up online their they filed a lawsuit and they put the whole 62 pages of it online, both for Apple and Google. So yeah, interesting times. Someone called it the missile crisis of app stores.
I mean, there have been a lot of takes on Apple and Google. I know, hey, the email, they've talked about like Apple just squeezing the life of the indie developers and taking so much too. Hey, Jesse, I don't know if it's me, but the streaming and buffering on your end, you're coming out shaky. So I wanted to ask the audience if you guys are experiencing the same thing. And I don't know if it's my internet. I'm at my office right now, but let me know in the comments below if you guys are experiencing anything, and definitely let me know where you guys are coming from, because I'm always excited to hear where everybody is joining in from, oh, Lorenzo's here. What's happening, my friend? I think he's in South Africa. Joe, good to see you every day. Okay, no, Joe's saying everything looks good. Thanks, Joe. You got to come on, Joe, to this. All right. Well, Jesse, let's talk about this then. In terms, when you've got so much experience with A/B testing, in terms of A/B testing, what do you think is the most high priority thing of the App Store creatives we should A/B test first?
Right. It depends a bit on the like test that you want to do, right? So there's two ways to kind of take a look at this. One is optimizing something that you've already proven that works quite well, or the other one is to do something completely different. So imagine we would have like let's use a puzzle game as an example that would have a hospital theme as the whole meta and everything around it, right? So for if you want to try out like what could be the best marketing impact of really emphasizing on the hospital meta versus then focusing more on the gameplay elements, on the screenshots and stuff. So in those cases, what we tend to recommend to do is to take a look at the whole thing a bit more holistically, and at the same time run a test with both the icon and the screenshots, because the visuals do matter the most. And icon and screenshots, because it's much more resource heavy to do a video preview test for every single variant. So we tend to start from screenshots and icon to test these holistic concepts, and then start to optimize it from there. So in this example, let's say you are now trying this hospital meta against like gameplay focused assets. So on top of having a good emphasis on the hospital stuff on the screenshots, putting that thing to the icon really makes the whole thing like consistent. Whereas then on the gameplay featured one, you could have the more traditional, let's say match tree gameplay elements on the icon, a bit more of those on the screenshots, but just having a couple of hospital characters kind of backing up and giving hints of the meta. So kind of, if you want to do that holistic thing, take a look at the full picture. But if you're really optimizing things, so something you really should go forward is like the screenshots and the icon, especially, as well as the video preview. But the easiest wins are usually on the screenshots and icon.
Okay, and then have you experienced anything? You know, I get this question all the time from clients. Should we invest in a video app preview video? What are your thoughts on this?
It does make a difference. It's a bit harder to test that because obviously autoplays don't work with lower internet speeds, and especially in Safari that's actually disabled these days. So it's a bit harder to test those hypotheses, but we've seen that it does have an impact. It does take more resources. So if you want to really like first figure out like your hypothesis and especially always start with the hypothesis, right? So like I mentioned earlier, like in this hospital gameplay example, for example, so the first thing that you want to do is to nail down and make really good looking screenshots to fit those hypotheses and test that against each other, and after that start running app review videos for that as well.
We had an earlier talk with a lot of ASO companies. Have you seen app preview videos work better for certain category of apps versus others? The big thing that came out of the other webinar that we did together was that usually it's for games, like app preview videos are way better for games, but for non-games, we've seen a mix. Sometimes it increases conversions, sometimes it actually decreases conversions.
Yeah, and this is also a tricky part because there's strict guidelines on app preview videos from Apple. We've heard clients get like rejected by having a cropped button on the like. So basically, they took recordings from let's say like the iPhone 11 Pro, and then when they just cropped that video a bit shorter to fit the 5.5 inch version, and the corner of the button got like cropped out, so the whole build got meta rejected. So sometimes it can get like really hard to put in something extra to the app preview videos which is why like you can see a lot of hyper casual games and games that heavily rely on the gameplay to really get good results with these gameplay videos. But then if you take other genres like that focus more on the player fantasy, like mid-core games, for example, that take Raid Shadow Legends. They really need to emphasize on their amazing CGI characters to get the fantasy out to the players when they market their games. It's harder because they always have the risk of getting rejected when you put something that's not exactly something that you have in the game. So it does vary a lot with different categories.
All right, let's get into some of the questions. Moti, I know Moti said, hey, me and Eric do it at the same time. Fortunately, Moti, 9 a.m. is the perfect time for me to do it. So yeah, I had no idea he was doing it on Fridays as well. But anyways, you have to pick. I'm sorry. But Moti, he says, hi, Eric. It's not Eric, it's Steve. But thank you, Moti. Have you ever tried any black hat techniques? Because black hat ASO seems to be more cool than normal ASO tactics. I actually have, Moti. And, in 2015, we discovered that having keywords in your reviews actually had a big impact on your keyword rankings. Fortunately, right now, it hasn't had that big of an impact, but we're running some keywords boost type of campaigns, and we've seen some actually good results there. Obviously, this would be gray hat, black hat, where you pay for reviews. So I've tried a bunch of different black hat ASO techniques. The thing that I always say to people when they want to venture into this world is be careful, especially on Google Play, because they will just ding you and take you out of the App Store without any notice, whereas Apple's a little bit more lenient. And I'm saying this publicly, unfortunately, but that's what I would say to you. Yes, they do work. Just be careful, and we'll do a deep dive on the keyword boosting, and I'll make some recommendations on that. Anything on your end, Jesse?
Agree, and it's a bit harder to build a strategy around the black hat techniques because they can go away as fast as you discover them. One example was that at some point, I think it was with Mario Run, people discovered that they had some keywords on the package ID. So instead of having Mario, I think they had Sarah, like the clothing app, and that allowed them to rank really high with that specific keyword, and that led to a lot of people like doing keywords based optimization on their actual package ID. But I haven't seen people do that anymore, nor have I seen people like or that rank up anymore. So like I said, those are techniques that if you discover and you're the first one of them, good, but they might go as fast as you discover them. So building a long run strategy on top of them can be quite dangerous.
Yeah, and I'll get through some of the comments in terms of going back to the app preview video too. Boto says, definitely videos make a big difference in games. Apps, not that much. So he's had a similar experience. Romaine, a friend of mine, he got rejected for having 3D iPhone in my video. So you're right, Jesse. Like sometimes, you make that investment into a video and then Apple rejects you and they're like, no, you can't have that in the video. So be careful with that.
And at the same time, you might see like your competitor have a full CGI video. It's crazy. Yeah. It's something editorial, something that they pick one by one. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's get into some of the app audits. We have 4 different app audits for you. Moonshades, I'm glad you're here because I let everybody know when your app is going to be audited. If you guys do want to get your app audited as well, I know we did a roast last week with Theorem Reach, so you guys can check it out. If you want, Theorem Reach is take. I kind of butchered that. But if you want take from Tom and myself, then go check out Theorem Reach and get your app, fill out their form. But if you want to just my take and just my guess, whoever that's going to be, it's appmasters.com/audit to check it out there. So appmasters.com/audit. Okay. All right, Jesse, let's get into this first one. Boom. We have Moonshades right here. So Moonshades, I knew you sounded familiar. All right, here it is. And he wants more keyword analysis. So you and I will both do a deep dive on this, and you can maybe go into some of the creative side, and I'll go into some of the the keyword side. But I'll let you start off because I'm trying to get my plugin's not working properly, so I'm gonna try to fix that. But go ahead, you start off.
With the visuals or keywords?
Whatever you want to start off with first.
Right. Well, visuals are an easy way to kick things off. And I can actually also try to push the limits of my internet bandwidth and try to even share my screen at some point.
Sure.
So I pre-made like a short list of other roguelikes and dungeon crawlers on Geeklab side, where we pull data and we can analyze some colors and stuff and see things side by side. So let me try to share this.
Let's see if you can do it, and that way I can fix my thing.
Let's see.
Okay, cool. Perfect. There it is.
Oh man, that's great. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I did pull a couple of competitors here, or other similar apps. So let's first start off from the icon itself. Something that often we tend to forget is how small these icons actually are when we view these on the store, as well as when we view them on the home screen on the app when picking up the app again or the game again, especially on Google again. Like it's quite small on the device. So therefore, like when you looked at the legendary Archero, for example, really good stuff. They have strong contrast on the icon. They portray one element that gives already like a good emphasis on what the game actually is, and you can see that from even in a smaller size. The reason them having like 1 year there, that's also a good re-engagement tool in case you have lapsed players, you want to re-engage. That's something that works really well. And also if you have users who still have your game downloaded, but they might not play it anymore, and they have the auto update on, so changing the icon and putting like a text like that on the side that says new update or something, we've seen that countless times that it really picks up on the retention, and you can see a huge peak on people returning to the game. In the case that you still have players who have the app downloaded and have that up there. But yeah, then on top of that, the art looks cool, you guys have, so I would definitely zoom in on that heavily and really put the contrast in, and you know, you can never go off with a strong female character and swords. So double down on that, zoom in and make the contrast so that it really pops up. That would be like a good first recommendation, because the icon is surprisingly important element, especially if you rely on like organic installs and some, if you're lucky enough to get featured by Apple or Google. In most placements, not all, but most placements, it might just be the icon that is getting featured. So the icon needs to be popping up among the competitors, as well as really sell already what your game is all about. So again, put that strong female character, zoom in, maybe a sword, 2 crossed on the bottom of it, should do good. Steve, you got anything on the icon?
Yeah, I like this, man. I want to know, is it just adding competitors into Geeklab that you get to see it side by side like this?
Yeah, right. So you go to benchmark where you can like search for competitors, and then you can add this to list. So I created a list called Moonshades, and then
nice.
What it does, it crawls like scrapes all the data from the stores live. So this is always the latest ones. And these are iOS, by the way, but I looked, and both Google and iOS were pretty much the same. You can do different languages as well. And from there, we break down the colors and show the screenshots and everything side by side. This is still under beta, but it surprisingly a lot of people use it already, even though it's on beta. So we are currently working on releasing the final version of it. Yeah,
looks great. And it allows you to kind of see like where's your icon related. And if I could give, the feedback would be maybe the other, when I'm looking at competitors, the hero person is way front and center, he's bigger, whereas, you know, your Moonshades, your app is, the icon is like a full body, kind of like this, whereas your competitors are like Jesse, like, you know, you have his beautiful face right in front of you, whereas me, you got to see the upper body too. So I would play around with maybe even bringing in your female character, hero character, even bigger, because this looks like that's what your competitors are doing.
Yeah,
cool. All right, let's get into, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, like we can let's do keywords in between, and then I have a few words about the screenshots that we can then do after.
Yeah, I think you've done phenomenally well, Moonshade. So congrats. I looked in the comments. He's doing it part-time. He's an indie game developer, and he's got a full-time job. So it looks like you got over 500,000 reviews. Congrats, man. The screenshots look amazing. Everything. No, well, like the screenshots when I look at it, the graphics look amazing in this game. In terms of keywords, I can't unfortunately get my Chrome extension to work properly to see your short description. But what I always say is you want to figure out the title is going to be the most valuable. And what I always try to do too, and this will be revealed in our keyword search boost campaign, is if the main thing is RPG, for example, find different keywords that are longer phrases that have RPG, because that's going to help you rank better for RPG. Right? Like, so free RPG game, or maybe even crawler RPG game. I don't know if there's a lot of search volume for those type of keywords, but I would try to find keywords that have good volume, that have RPG in it, that are long tail keywords, try to rank better for those. And then eventually your rank for RPG will go up. And that's what we're discovering when we're running these keyword search boost campaigns as well. Okay. Anything you want to add on the screenshot side of things? Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, and also like the same tool that we have on Geeklab, it does break down the description, so I can share. Yeah, it does take, currently it's quite vague, also something we're doubling down on, but it does the trick. So it pulls down the description of all these games, and then just takes account on the words that appear and how many times they appear. So you can really see like these 4 words getting emphasized a lot: dungeon, heroes, dungeons, and monsters. So probably quite competitive keywords. So one way is to also kind of take it the other way around and figure out if there could be something else that would tap into the same audience. Like I really like the art style that you guys have in the game. It looks like a proper PC game I used to play a lot, that I do not have time anymore. Like you got them Oblivion vibes in that too. Like it's really cool. So kind of maybe trying to tap into that audience through keywords could also be one opportunity. But yeah, there seemed to be like a comment.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, Moonshade says I'm using different icons on Apple and Google. Andy said, why are you using different icons? And Moonshade said, A/B testing shows a blue background works better on iOS versus, Google Play, I guess. But
right. Yeah, we do not have definite data on like which colors work the best, but you're definitely that's not like that's something we've seen as well. Like that blue background is the thing. There's a reason why it does appear a lot, also among your competitors here or similar types of apps. So definitely on point with that. But we've seen that it might make sense to also try that again with Google Play and with the tips that we had in mind. So kind of zooming in on these elements.
Yeah, let me show you the Google. He is top 10. So congrats, Moonshades. He's top 10 for RPGs. Looks like
really well.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right on 10. And then here his iOS icons. He's got the blue one. I really like this one. I don't know why it wouldn't perform well on Google, but try playing up. Like maybe having the sword like in the face, like around the face a little bit bigger. She looks attractive. Like bring her up a little bit more so that we can see her a little bit more, Victor. But yeah, that's what I think. So far, so good. Look, I've heard from others too, from a keyword perspective. I'm doing great on Google Play. Unfortunately, I'm not on iOS. They're both 2 different platforms. They have their own little algorithms. You've got 500,000 downloads on Google Play, which is amazing. You don't have. I'm gonna guess you probably don't have that much on Apple. And so play around with some of that. I like that you have RPG. Try losing Dungeons Crawler in Moonshades. Just put Moonshades RPG. That might help your RPG ranking. And then you've got a lot of great ratings in the US App Store.
Yeah, man.
It looks like you're utilizing this too.
Yeah, and really congratulations on the ratings. Ranking over 4.5 is always really good, especially when you have that many ratings. So well done.
Yeah, and I would always suggest, this is the Spanish Mexico localization that we're looking at. I always suggest to people is have it different from the US. You probably don't need Moonshades anymore if you don't care about the branding. And as an indie app developer, like I wouldn't care about the branding as much. So the Spanish Mexico App Store index, the US App Store indexes the Spanish Mexico localization. So if you really wanted to target the US market, you put English keywords like you kind of done in the title, but you also put in the subtitle and you also put in the keyword field. I noticed that you've localized in Spanish. If it's not a huge market and you're not bringing in that much revenue in this market, consider just using, I mean, maybe having this, leave the long description in Spanish, and maybe even the subtitle in Spanish, but the keyword field, I might try to go after more like RPG related keywords in the keyword field itself of Spanish Mexico.
Right.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, like then maybe one final thing from the screenshots point of view. Let me see. Yes, here we go. So as you can see, like a lot of competitors have bullshitted images with even taglines and stuff. That's not a necessity. Like you can do really well without like having these marketing images, especially hyper casual games tend to have only gameplay, like actual screenshots of the game as their screenshots, which is what also Apple recommends you to do and might help you get featured. But still, when you do that, so there's usually a story that they emphasize on the screenshots, and that's also something that we've tested. We had a couple of hypotheses on what could work with this particular hyper casual game, and we created different sets of screenshots, and that were screenshots, and that told a story, and the story that won was visual progression. So you could see things evolve in the game through the screenshots, like both in terms of there was a level counter and you saw that go up, you saw the equipment, or in that case that was there was like this one element that is in the core of the whole game, so that got bigger and better throughout the screenshot. So things like these like are something to keep in mind still, if you don't want to go down the road of trying to figure out like the marketing bullshitted images. Sometimes being true to the product might even work better, so not doing that, but still, when doing just gameplay screenshots, try to tell a story while putting these up there, so really doubling down on the progression and visual progression.
Hey, Jesse, if you can keep that screen up, what I want to compare with too is the landscape versus the portrait. I see, there's a couple of competitors that say explore dungeons and stuff. Have you guys seen that these portrait ones with words and marketing message perform better than the landscape ones that just show the gameplay?
Right. You mean like if these have taglines because they are, yeah, we haven't tested exactly that. And we do see people like do taglines on landscape games as well. So can't really tell you exactly that don't do taglines when you have landscape shots. Obviously, having a portrait game allows you to kind of still have visually good amount of focus on the center while just taking the bottom off. Whereas in landscape screenshots, it's a bit harder to kind of put those stamps in, which usually leads that every portrait screenshot have those taglines, whereas landscape might not. But also this is a good question also, like whether to go landscape or portrait. iOS and Google, that's the fundamental biggest difference between these stores, right? So on iOS, the screenshots are like scaled based on height, whereas on Google they're the other way around. On iOS they are scaled based on width, and on Google they are scaled based on height. Meaning that if you put portrait screenshots on Google, they will be quite small and you can see a lot of them. Whereas on like iOS store, if you put the portrait landscape screenshot, it will take up almost the whole space. I think it's like 89% or something. And you will see like the description and the rest of it. But if you use portrait screenshot, it takes up more space. So that's always something that we recommend testing too. Does not seem to be like a holistic thing that applies on every single product and game regarding these orientations, but that's also something we recommend testing like between these platforms.
I like it. Okay, I think we've covered enough. Moonshades, congrats, man. And Andy said he's going to download the game. So Andy said, hey, I'm going to download today. Looks good. So it pays to get your app audited, it looks like as well. But I'm so amazed by the caliber of apps that have filled out that form, appmasters.com/audit, because you got some amazing success. So congrats. And hopefully, you'll go on and make a lot of money with this app and not have to work that real job anymore. All right, I want to get into some of the questions that we've had on this too. Damn Comedy says, questions for Steve. I have a subscription app, but 85% of them have billing errors when the trial is over. Most of my users are from third world countries. Is that why, or am I missing something? I do think, look, I'm not a technical guy, so you might want to have to check with your technical guy, but I do think that is the reason why you're seeing those errors. That is a really high percentage. And anytime that happens, that is probably likely the case. I have one client that is going through something similar, and we just think it's because we're targeting too young of a group who may not have the funds or may have to ask their parents. I know with my son's phone, he has to ask me for approval to buy anything. And so they may be running into billing errors that way. But if you're targeting third world countries, that may be the reason why your trial is getting removed or there's some billing errors when it happens. Anything to add, Jesse?
No, like totally on point. We've seen the same thing with one of our clients. So it looked like there was some bug in the setup, but it was actually just failed payments that caused the billing errors.
Got it. Okay, let me see if I can figure out some other. Kidcentric is here. We'll be getting to that app as well. I think I've covered most of these questions up top. All right, so let's get into some of the other questions that we have. Ive says, hello from Croatia. I'm owner of an educational app. We do a lot of A/B testing, but our app on App Store isn't going well as it is on game. Can you please give me some advice? Hey, I think the best thing to do is go check out appmasters.com/audit. We do have a long list, guys. So unfortunately, if you want to get bumped up, then I don't know, pay for a consultation. But we do have a long list. If you want it for free, you're gonna have to wait. That's like I've said in one of my previous videos, Jesse. Yeah, monetize off of impatience. If you can wait, great. If you can't, well then you're gonna have to pay. And that's just the
right.
Life. Cool.
Yeah. One idea was that try to figure out the portrait and landscape thing. So that could be one thing that is fundamentally so different between these stores. So if things that you find out on Google doesn't apply on Apple, start off with that.
Cool. I like it. Okay, here's a question, and keep those questions coming. If I missed your question from earlier, just leave it. Like Damn Comedy, he kind of put it back again, the same question. Aiden asks, hey guys, do you have a process for validating an app idea before you build it? You want to take that, Jesse?
Yeah, love it. Love that question, because that's a trend that's fortunately becoming bigger and bigger all the time. So that's what we allow you to do with our tool, and that's part of the reasons why we built the tool. So basically, whenever you run an A/B test on our tool, it's not an actual app store that gets modified, but it's rather a one-on-one lookalike that we built ourselves and that we host ourselves. And because of this, you can create these store pages even without having an app at all. So that's a thing that people are doing more and more now. So having strong hypotheses on app ideas and putting up like one ad, icon, 2 screenshots even, like just to get the idea and verify it for like 2 or 3 of their ideas and variants, and then running a small campaign to their target audience and seeing which resonates the best. And that's totally something you can do before the app is out. And if you want to be a total pro, so we even have a survey tool on our platform, so you can add a survey after the user clicks the install button, because then there's obviously not any app that you can go and install. So you can have a survey and ask some qualitative questions from your target audience, like like what would be the game features that you expect this type of game would have, and what are the main motivations that drive you to play, and kind of even the deep dive into demographics and this type of stuff. So definitely you can do that, and something that we highly recommend you to do.
Yeah, and I love that idea because you can make an app appear like there's an app available, and you can really test some of the paid marketing stuff. Look, I think, Aiden, the other things you can do is literally find the community. You know, one of the videos I created called Go-to-Market Strategy, the macro level without going into the micro details is find the community. Where can you get an easy yes, and go find it, right? Like that's how you easily validate an idea. Go find it. One of my interviews that's going to be coming up probably in September, but before I recorded it, Chris, he made a app that allows you to quit smoking weed. And he found a community on Reddit, and he was engaging with that community a lot and said, hey guys, if I build this app, would you guys want it? What kind of features do you want? And he slowly started validating this idea. And now in the interview, we talk about validating that idea using that community, the Reddit community, building it, and then transitioning into a subscription. And he's 3x his revenues ever since he went to subscription. So it's a great interview that's coming up. And it's what I'm trying to call like the month of side hustles, because we've got a lot of side hustler interviews coming up. And I know you guys love that type of interviews. I know when I was a side hustler, I love that type of stuff too. And so find the market, the community, go look for them, listen to them, engage with them. And then like Jesse said, you know, go to Geeklab, create these things and see if like, hey, I've created a first version. See if they start collecting download. And if they are, then you have some basis to go off of too. You know, Jesse, I was listening to this audiobook right before we got here, and they're talking about like momentum, right? Like, hey, how do you get momentum? Things in motion, stay in motion, you know, things that are still, they stay still. And I was talking to a coaching client yesterday, and she was talking about like, I'm just feeling deflated and some things like that. I'm like, look, you've done this, you know, she's been building that community. She has people that are interested. I'm like, you should celebrate every single win because that's motion, right? Like, and the hardest part I find with running a business is keeping that motion alive. Because when you're first starting out, you have so much energy, like, oh, I'm going to get this done. I'm so thinking. And then when you launch it and it's disappointing results, how do you keep that in motion? And that's the hardest part. So I'm always telling her like, keep it alive, get going. This is awesome. Celebrate these small wins, because that way you keep the ball rolling instead of just stopping. Because once it stops, it's hard to really get it picked up again.
Nice. You gotta link me that book when I listen to that too.
Okay.
That's
dude. It's only the intro. Okay, I only finished the intro chapter.
Well, it seems like a good book.
It's called Contagious by Jonah Berger. I've read some of his other books too, but it's the first one that I picked up. But there's a great book suggestion that I'll say for the end of the episode as well. All right, let's get into some of the updates, because I know you guys are waiting for that. Let me pull up this one. Word search. So he wants to talk more about the organic installs. I know a lot of this is the questions that I get the most. Look, guys, organic installs are pretty darn hard to start getting going. And Jesse, you know, you feel free to disagree with me. What I found in Google Play, like it takes a little bit of a push rather than just being like, I'm going to keyword optimize and boom, get it launched in the App Store. I'm going to do more ASOs and launch it in the App Stores, and all the organics going to come in. That's typically not been the case from what I've experienced. It's usually running some paid ads, running some type of acquisition, tweaking different things, constantly tweaking. And then you're starting to see like, oh, okay, things are working now. Now the ASO is starting to pick up, kind of like Google SEO, the way I see it.
Yeah, agree. And then there's things that you can really try to do. Apple did open up. Can't really remember. Like I think half a year ago, almost. Finally, like they're also featuring submissions. So you can actually submit a update that you have or an event that you have to Apple to get featured. And Google, they have their events like cards that you can do. So trying to get as much love as from the platform as possible is also it's a tough nut to crack. But if you are able to, that will change your game. And when that happens, so it's important that you get prepared. So a lot of same things that we talk with Moonshades could be echoed here regarding the icon. So like I said, like if you then get featured by Google or iOS App Store, so again, icon should be something that really looks nice on a small smart spot on the like user's device among tons of other icons. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think, what we've also found is the best way is to get feedback from your users. What we typically do is look at the ratings when you're figuring out what to say in your screenshots. For example, I look at the ratings of our competitor, the reviews of our competitors. What are the most favorable things? What do they love about the app the most? And then regurgitate that, right? And then I even look at the unfavorable, the 1 to 2 star, what they hate the most. And so you can say, we don't do this, right? Like you can sort of overcome that. We don't do X, Y, and Z that they hate of their competitors. I think word search now free on iOS, thousands of levels, decent. Can you solve it? Okay, multi-languages, relax. I think everything else looks good. I think, you look, again, without repeating myself, you want the good keywords in your title. You want it in your short description. Fine. Keyword research is what I found the key to making a huge difference. We have a client on Google Play where we've seen like 57% increase in downloads, and it's all been keyword research, and it's all been a collective effort of they're running some other acquisition campaigns along with keyword optimization. So that's really helped a lot too. What I also tell most people to do is, and you've done a good job of this, is respond to those reviews, right? And what I've said in the past, if you want to do somewhat gray hat strategies, when you're responding to these reviews, have the keywords that you want to target in there as well, because it's only going to help. You're already spending the time to respond to these reviews. So if you want to rank really well for word game, then say, oh, I'm 5-star review, great game, relaxing word game. Great. I'm glad you're enjoying all the words that we have in our game. Or, I'm glad that's why we're trying to make the best word game possible. Have these type of things, like respond to all the reviews that you possibly can with the keywords that you want to potentially target. And then the last thing I'll mention, because I didn't mention in the other one, is Google is from search, SEO. So use some of the SEO tactics, meaning H2 tags. We work well on an SEO level. We are starting to use that a lot when we're doing our ASO optimization on Google Play. We're using a lot of H2 tags. We're using a lot of bold tags because they make a subtle difference when Google looks at these H2 tags. What are the keywords in these H2 tags? They tend to have a little bit more weight on SEO, and the same thing applies on ASO as well.
And then also I'd like to add that the offline aspect is quite cool. That's something that's not as competitive as other aspects, yet something that people really crave for. Well, nobody's flying a plane now, but
especially in like third world countries, Jesse, like, people don't want to use their internet. Like we have internet everywhere, but then, in other countries, like they have to pay per download. So offline is very good, and especially on Android. I think that's offline capability is really important.
Good point. Yeah. So that's something that you could double down on, and even maybe have a dedicated screenshot for it. Like that really puts that on the front.
I agree. Cool. Let's get into this next question, Jesse.
Yep.
Andy asks, at what point do I start looking at in-app advertising, forced videos, banner, etc.? Andy, I don't know, what kind of app do you have, for one? And Jesse, I'll let you take the lead after I say this, but I would say as soon as possible. Like, that's what your test is. If your monetization, long-term monetization vision is to have these in-app advertising or video ads, Voodoo does these forced video ads. They have these banners. Ketchup, that when I interviewed the CRO, Christian, at Ketchup, he's no longer there, but essentially he said banner ads were the number 2 revenue, most generating revenue. So banner ads do work. If that is something that you're considering in the long-term vision, put it right away. I know sometimes you want to get the right user experience, but at the same time, you want to see if your long-term vision is going to work too. So I kind of feel like right away, but feel free to disagree with me, Jesse.
No, that's totally on point. Like two things matter. First, like what's your monetization? So if it's IAPs, then that's a scary territory to try to get even more through these banners as fast as possible. But if you're relying on ads, and so as soon as, well, the other thing that you need to take into account is also the retention. So if your average life curve for a player is I don't know, if it's like a hyper casual game, it could be as low as like 5 minutes. So you need to bombard them with ads if you wanna monetize them. So it really depends on those two things. But yeah, nothing to disagree with Steve here. If that's the way you monetize, so you better start to do it like as soon as possible to actually be able to monetize.
All right, let's get into the next one. Now, Dimitrios, I know you're here, so let me know if this is the app, because your website, Dosl, is not working for me. All right, so let me know if this is the app, because we're going to look at it, and he wants us to kind of look at his overall app experience. So let me go into the App Store presence first, because the website is not working, and I'm going to wait for Dimitrios to come in. But here it is. This is the only thing that shows up, Jesse. So I'm assuming this is the app, right? Like, here it is. It looks like live stream on demand, live stream the world, what's trending live, earn money in your wallet. So I guess the more people, I'm assuming the more people you get to watch, the more you get paid, kind of like a YouTube model. I think whenever I see these apps that are very similar to other apps, I'm always like, what makes you different than, like, you know, YouTube, Twitch? Because I trust those guys. That's Amazon and that's Google, right? Like, I trust them. How are you going to get me to trust you? That's going to make you different. So if it is this, like, again, the first 3 screenshots are the most important, earn money in your wallet, like, talk about like how I earn money if it's by views, and maybe have that as the second or third screenshot, because live stream on demand, you're pretty much saying the same thing as, you know, an Instagram live. Like, how is that different from what I'm already doing? Because you have another hurdle to get over. Get over that. Like, explain that, how it's different from this.
Yeah,
it looks like Dimitri said this is it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, great.
Sorry,
no, all good. And then another thing with live streaming is not the accessibility only for you to be able to live stream, but also the accessibility for others to view it. So like, putting that as one of the key messages you want to sell. So it's super easy for your friends to open that up or watch other, like, what's trending live, that screenshot that Steve has like now up there. Maybe emphasizing on that even more, putting that up front. One fun thing, by the way, we've seen, it's on average, this does vary a bit between different app categories and products, but on average, less than 10% of users go past the 4th screenshot. So kind of things that you can do, things that you can really make a difference is happening on the first 4, for on average 90% of your page viewers. So putting that message to the front, and now it's what's trending live. It's a good message. It shows that there's happening stuff, but it's still also centered for you to view it. Whereas if you want people to broadcast, so then kind of doubling down on the sharing aspect, that it's super easy and accessible for your friends to view and stuff. So that could be one potential uplift.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into overall user experience, because that's what he wants. Well, guess what, Demetrius? We are live streaming, so this is perfect. Get ready to join the most unique digital broadcasting company in the world. Okay, see the world live, stream real content from all over the world, all on demand. I think it means watch it on demand too. I kind of would change the wording on it, because I don't know if you feel this way, Jesse, but it says stream real time content from all over the world. Cool. All on demand, meaning like watch it on demand, I guess. Earn money as a content provider. Love that.
That's good.
So like, when I can't scroll this, I think here's Dimitrios, here's what it overall experience is, right? Like, I'm scrolling. You see my thumb is very similar to where her thumb is, or where it's on the phone, middle of the screen, but I got to go all the way up top to go next. So either put a next button at the very bottom down. Wow, how do I show this? At the very bottom right here, or don't make my fingers, like, my fingers are right here at the bottom, right here.
Yeah.
You're making me go all the way up top. Don't make me do that. Okay.
And even a button that says like start earning money now, or like something like that could do it.
I like that. It's like, start earning money with your live streams. So don't ask me for a push. I know this is new. He told me, like, Steve, this is a beta version, but again, don't ask for push notifications without giving me a reason why, because I'm going to say no. I'm going to put allow, turn on push notifications, get notified with requests to broadcast. Okay, cool. You should have asked that before, but if I hit now, because I already said no, I'm going to be taken to the settings, right? shitty experience. Okay.
I like
up.
the preview thing. I like the preview thing a lot. So that you have sign up or preview, like there on the login screen.
Cool. Let's
So
preview.
that's really good. So you can do that, and then you can prompt to ask to create the account later on again. That's really good.
Look, he is asking for this. Okay, let's go full access. Let's see, allow. Okay. What's up? Yeah, I like this. Cool. Well, everything else looks good. So let me click on some people, send requests. I guess these are people in the app, and so I can tell them to, hey, why don't you live stream? I think if I'm coming to a live stream app, I either want to watch other live streams or I want to do a live stream myself. And I don't know what to do here. Are these people just people that I can request to do a live stream? Right? Like it seems weird to me. Okay. But I don't know what to do. So my preview isn't as great, in my opinion. I'll sign up for the app. All right, let me sign up for the app, Jesse. I'm gonna remove my screen.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Meanwhile, I can. So like on your screenshot, you had a image of an ice hockey match being live streamed. Can't exactly see what team it was, but that looked neat. So exactly what Steve says. So kind of jump into it straight up. Have like a TikTok type of feed, even that would be the entry point, where you could have this map UI button on the very bottom of the screen, where you could always jump back to and kind of view it from the map point of view. But at the same time, you would immediately start to watch these live streams, which would be a good thing for the viewer as well as the one who's actually streaming, because they would immediately get views more easily than you zooming in from the map and picking them manually up.
Let's send a request. Enter the duration.
Oh, now I might understand better what the app is all about. So you can request, like people can sign up, like please comment if we're getting this. But people can sign up as potential broadcasters, and then you can request for people to actually broadcast, and you can give them money if you want. Like let's say someone would be on a hockey match, and you could pay them, and then they would broadcast from the spot. Oh, we had all.
Man, I have to do so much. This is ridiculous. I don't know what else to do. It says, please select schedule location. Oh, okay. What if I don't want to send? You have no funds. Yeah, I think it's kind of weird. So I guess you're right. I think that's what is it. Yeah, Demetrius said yes.
Right.
I don't.
Okay.
So the thing is, if you have nothing on demand, Demetrios, and I like that idea. I just come into the app and either your screenshot said live stream or watch on demand and get paid for every live stream. But when I come into the app, all the things that you talked about are non-existent, right? Like I can't watch any live streams. I can't even live stream myself. What if I just want to live stream without being requested? So the fact that I have to dig into this, like I'm doing this because you're a friend, you join our live streams every week, and you have this app audit, but I'd be out so fast knowing what you just teed up for me. And then I come into the app and I can't even see, I can't see any live streams. I can't live stream myself. I'm lost. I'm out. Right. And that's what the normal user is going to give you.
Yeah. So basically, I would explain this whole situation a bit differently on the first three screenshots. So kind of not a perfect copywriter myself, not even close. So I will try to get these words out, but like explaining it better, because now we kind of had to guess it after we appeared on this thing, and yet even like, because as an idea it does make sense. The whole like flow just needs to be much easier and faster. Right. Like one good example, if you want to take a look at like products and how they've done well. So take a look at e-scooter brands. Like that's a pretty tough like thing that you need to do, like from the first time user experience to get people to be able to pay and unlock a scooter within like a few seconds. So take a look at how they've done the first time user experience, how at which point do they request for the payment methods and all these kinds of stuff. So that could be a potential thing to benchmark, even though it has nothing to do with live streaming.
And I think the problem is when you're so brand new to an app, there's not going to be a lot of people, so you're not going to be able to demand a lot of different live streams yet. Or do you care about what's going? Granted, we're in a pandemic, so not a lot of things are happening, and I can't request different things but I can see certain things that are trending. If they're there, like, yeah, obviously get paid. But if I just wanted to live stream myself and put it on demand when people can watch it on demand, that makes more sense, because right now you're a content company and you don't have any content, right? Like, even if you think about Uber or Lyft, I open the app and rather than me finding, I see little cars everywhere. Like, cool, done. Send a request, right? Get a taxi. So it's either like go live with your stuff right now. What are you going live with? Or watch a live stream. But right now, to request one, I think it's too much. I think it's a next step. It's like a phase 2 of a product iteration rather than phase 1. Phase 1, you're just trying to find product market fit. The product market fit is, are people willing to live stream their stuff? And then are others willing to pay for that live stream? Done, right? That's the hypothesis. So how do you get to that hypothesis faster rather than me having to request? That just puts a barrier that I'm never going to ask, because I don't even know what to ask this person right here. What am I going to ask Andy? I don't know.
And
what is he even good at? Like, I don't know what to do. Andy, live stream what? I don't know.
Yeah. And like, I personally hate this, but it's an effective tactic. But something you could try is that maybe like it would have a first 2 or 3 minutes would always be free. So you could always start up someone's stream for 2 or 3 minutes, and after that you hit the payment wall on whatever they request as a money. So yeah.
GR says, but those cabs are fake until they find actual drivers. Some are, but who cares, right? Like, there's activity, right? It tells me emotion. How many people are like, these are fake, these are not. As long as they can get somebody to me within a couple of minutes, I don't care if that was a fake driver or a real driver, but it shows activity, right? Okay, cool. I like that. Dimitrio's correct. Sorry, Dimitrios, the app is basically a request for content. Okay, cool. I know AJ's been like, hey guys, can you please review my AX? AJ, appmasters.com/audit, brother. All right, go check it out. You had a couple of different comments in there about this. All right, we're running out of time, but so let's go to the last app audit, and then we will kind of end it there. Let me share my top. We've got Kidcentric. All right, Kyle, get this, Jesse. I love getting emails like this. He's an 18-year-old developer. It's like, anything I can do to improve my app, ASO functionality, thanks so much. 18-year-old doesn't have too much for marketing. What's funny, Jesse,
and first of all, like, congrats, man. 18-year-old building an app already. Like, congrats. Teach us.
Congrats on that. And the fact that you're thinking about a baby tracker as an 18-year-old, dude, you got to tell me that story, Kyle. All right. So the app itself, the screenshots, look, it's kind of boring in my eye. And Jesse, you tell me if you've seen anything different. I actually hate with a passion when screenshots have words that go up, organize all your child's, and then go down and then go back up again. Like, what book do you see? Even children's book don't do this. They don't make me look for words again. I read left to right or up and down. Like, I don't go up, down, up, down. I don't read like that. So I really hate it. I don't know if you got stats to back up my emotionals on this, my emotions.
Unfortunately, to some extent, the opposite. So we've seen.
How dare you, Jesse?
that zigzag thing works. But it always depends a lot on like it was actually a word game that featured this, and it worked. So it depends on genres. But here there's definitely one thing that would be a really easy win. So it looks like most likely this is my hypothesis of what happened, but like, as Apple now requests the 6.5 screenshots, it looks like you've just like sort of squeezed in these 5.5 inch screenshots to the 6.5 inch screenshots, and that, even though your app looks like it's really well made and everything is on point, that can be a major turnoff for people to see things in like it looks buggy. when device are too like it's not wide enough, and the taglines and fonts are a bit like squeezed. So that's an easy win. Another thing is you would be surprised on what's the impact of having new devices. And again, like I've been saying this now many times, like Apple featuring. But if you want to get featured, that's one of the things that you need to have in place. I have never ever seen any app get featured that had an old device on the screenshots. So they really take a look at that. Yeah. And it also portrays the kind of the production value. A tiny thing, but a subtle thing that helps people to get on the right mindset. And one really popular thing with apps like yours is to like play around with the like screenshots, so that you'll have like a background element that could flow between the screenshots. Maybe one device could be like you have the one that's like a bit tilted on the sideways, the one that has keep track of medical records. Have a device like that split between two screens, so that you can zoom in a bit and show your great product, and have more placements to the to have one tagline on top and then the other one on the bottom, just to piss Steve off. But yeah, so definitely those would be just a couple of things that came to my mind looking at these first. And one last thing, device is white, the background is white. So you can really play around with now the background color and the font color when the device is white and your color scheme is like it is. So it's quite neutral. So your icon has great color palette. So maybe pull off some of those elements to the background, or just some patterns to the background to make it a bit more lively and make the device pop a bit.
Yeah, I like that. I like all those. The other thing I would say is, from a keyword perspective, when you're just starting out, Kyle, you want to really focus more on the long tail keywords. It's a lot of keyword research. And now I've shared this in the past, but I always use a tool called AppFollow and kind of do keyword research to find the biggest competitors out there, and just use AppFollow and go into their keyword search ads recommendation here, and then put in one of your biggest competitors. So like baby tracker, I'm just going to put that, see what comes up. And what, let's see, newborn log, that's perfect. Okay, so what you're going to see is a ton of different keywords. Baby tracker obviously is a big one. It's probably going to be really competitive, right? So what to expect, good one. The Wonder Weeks, it just comes up with a lot of different keywords that you might be potentially able to target, and their search scores are right here. Then you put it into a tool like App Radar, sponsor of the podcast, and show, but then you can get the difficulty scores. Then you can really go after the keywords that have lower difficulty and pretty high search volume. But this is one great way of doing a LACMED, right? Like breastfeeding tracker. Also, I'm thinking as a parent myself, I remember when I had my first kid, that's when you're the most anxious and you're most afraid. And so maybe play on those fears. You're 18. I don't know if you know any of this stuff, but maybe ask your mom and maybe see how she might have felt when she first had the firstborn. Because you're tracking poops. You're literally tracking like which boob did the baby feed on, like essentially, and then how much they poop and how much they pee. You're tracking everything. And so play on those fears a little bit, like what anxiety a new parent might be going through. Because Jesse, by the time I got to the second kid, I was like, I know all this. I don't need to track any of this shit anymore. It's all good. But these are the things that you might want to play on in your screenshots, the words you use, because it helps you differentiate between the other big apps out there too.
That was a really good point, man. And also taking it even further, like maybe some of the keywords that you could emphasize is pregnancy and this stuff, because at that point parents are quite anxious and scared about what's coming, and they might still have a bit of time to explore the app store before the baby is alive and kicking. So actually some of the competitors, well, not exactly sure what are all of your competitors, but like Flow Health and these guys that I put up here have these pregnancy words up there. But as you can see, man, like and we've talked about screen icons today as well, and you nailed it down here. Like this is it. Like imagine you would see a Apple featuring happen now, and the only thing they can see are these screenshots, and you would want to see info or get some info for your baby. Well, it's definitely those baby feet. So well done. Like that's a really good icon, man.
Yeah, I like that. I love this tool, Jesse. Like this is great because like,
Thanks.
and I love that you're showing it because then we can say, if I can just tell people like it's an A/B testing tool, but I actually like this for better. Like you get to see, and then you're like, okay, what can I change? Because I think the hardest part of A/B testing is like, what about this? What about this? It's like, no, what about this? Because I have data that says, look at my competitors. They have some white icons. They have this icon. The orange one seems to be blending. Now you can really start to think through what you should be A/B testing based on your competitors.
Right. Thanks. Yeah, that this came from the pain of before I used to do this manually to Google Docs, and then the data got like old in a day, and then you had to do it all over again. So yeah.
I love it, right? Do it painfully and then build the technology above it.
All right.
Let's end with this. Let's go through the app as well.
Yeah.
And so I first opened it, Kidcentric, stay organized, make it easy to stay organized and allow your children to track. Again, like what I always say, this is the first screen that I see, is there's a thing called drunken download. I download this. Obviously, I'm a parent, so I'm not going to be drunken. Let's just say like lack of sleep download. What was this app against, Kidcentric? So talk about like, all your babies, all the newborn would probably better, but like log all your newborns or stay on top of your newborn progress. Stay organized, makes it, when I look at this app, let's say I just open it again, I'm like, wait, is this a to-do list app? Stay organized? I don't think about that as a parent. Stay organized. I think about like tracking my newborn's progress. So,
and something good from Dosl, from the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures looked great. Like like you can go to Unsplash and see those. Credit the ones who've taken the pictures, but you can get like good quality, like free royalty free pictures as well that you could put in here to make it even more tap into the mindset of parents.
Kyle, you must be a great developer. Create memories. I like that. Declutter. Okay, I like it. This is perfect. This is beautiful. Get started. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is what Dosl can do.
And there's the button. Yeah.
There's the button. That's what we're talking about. It all comes around. Great. This is one thing that we always say it's only $10. Man, you should be making money off this if it's only $10. One, I think I would increase the price to maybe 20 because who wouldn't want to pay 20? I do think that 30-day free trial is a little bit too long. I think 1 week is good enough. What we found is more people, one, you're going to have to wait 30 days to get paid, which is a really, really long time to figure out any type of metrics. How many people are unsubscribing? How many people sign up for a trial and never pay? So I always say just do a 7-day trial. It is really good enough to get started, but this is great. You should have this as part of your onboarding experience. So great onboarding experience. Your child's milestones and achievements. Store your child's art part. Okay, good. I like the little benefits. Maybe some social proof here would be helpful, but overall, good. And I would say instead of subscribe, get started for free. I think you can do that. I know Apple is very picky with the wordings that you put on buttons, but I think you can say get started for free because nobody wants to subscribe. Essentially. Okay.
Or even start to track start to log your kids' info or like double down on the actual action.
So Jesse,
if that's what Apple allows. Yeah.
Here's another mistake that I see developers make. Look at this. So I X'd out. I didn't pay. It's a blank screen.
Yeah, like there was a word for it. Can't remember, but like
stupid.
Always
no, I'm just kidding.
Have but always have something that like never have an empty state. So always when your if else turns to else. So make sure that you have something that you like print out.
Yeah. No, I think
after else.
Any UX development, they go like, okay, what's the empty state, right? What's the optimal state? Because everybody draws the optimal state, right? Nobody draws the empty state. What does it look like when we have no content, when we have no children? What does it look like when the optimal, we have 2.5 is the average. And then what does it look like when we have like 5 that we want to potentially track? So the opportunity here, I was just messing around with you, Kyle. It's not stupid because I see this mistake everywhere. But the opportunity is to, one, use the premium version, right? Like have the premium version up top to get them to buy, because I just X'd out. So remind them always. And I point to, man, there's a couple of different apps that I point to on this. Oh, there's this great motivation app that I'll show you guys. But essentially, you see this, you have the trial, but you always have this motivation. When I clicked it, it's always there. So have that capability for me to try on, and then don't make me go up here. If the first thing you want me to do, because I'm going to eventually buy, is to add a child, don't put the button way up top. Like put add child. You have all this room, like add child, or, like have some words here that say, parents who track are 20% more are 20% more likely to be better parents. Something that gets me to convert rather than having this add child button way up top. Okay. So
or even like go straight up to this, like after you whatever is the outcome from the subscription screen, straight up to this.
Yes,
like this.
Agreed.
This is trivial, having that in between.
Yes, agreed. Love it. All right, I think that's good, Jesse. I feel great about this. Thank you guys for joining. I know there's a few time people. Joe agrees. Joe's always got comments here. Joe says first time experience can be improved. I close out of the sub page and it's just a white screen. Yeah, Joe says the same thing. You're right, Joe.
Right.
And fine. Then the external, thank you. I've only made $6 on the app so far. I think the internal external is the English one. I think.
Right.
So good luck on that. And then Joe might have an answer to this, but what have you used for onboarding tutorial? I don't know, AJ. I don't know. I'm not a coder, but I've seen this. I think it's pretty easy to create. But again, I'm not a developer, so I'm not sure.
And like if you don't want to create one, the one tool that we use on Geeklab is Intercom. Even though it's a chat tool, they do have these onboarding and tutorial and product overviews. So if they have, by the way, like these startup subscription things as well. Like if you want to just dive right into it and not pay $200 a month, so you can apply for the startup program and get it for free. And by the way, not a paid advertisement even, so it's a great tool.
We should get paid for it. Okay, the internal external, thank you guys so much for the feedback. You're welcome. Let me know the internal external. Are you the Kidcentric? Are you Kyle? Which app developer are you as well? Demetrios, thank you. So thanks guys for all the input. Sorry if we were a little bit harsh, but that's what we're here for. Cool. Thank you guys for coming. Look guys, once again, you guys saw a preview of what Geeklab can do. That's just so much more. And I'm going to share this with you. Oops. Let me share my screen again. All right, here we go. So go check them out. It's geeklab.app, geeklab.app. You saw Jesse show off his screens. You can kind of compare your competitors. What are they using in their screenshots? What do their app icons look like, to give you a sense of where you can actually get started with A/B testing. And as Jesse said, if you want a holistic view, test all that. But if you want to start with the icons and the screenshots, those are going to be the biggest bang for your buck. So geeklab.app. Jesse, if the audience wants to follow up with you and say, thank you so much for coming on to this beautiful live stream, where else do you want to send them?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. And yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch with me, you can find me on LinkedIn easily. I'll usually approve every single connection request. So let's have a chat if you have any questions. And you can also find us on our site too. So even if you want to chat, so there is the intercom button on the right now that I'm online. So if you press there,
there it is.
So I'm not the only employee working. Yeah, you can say. So, but I also every now and then tend to pick up those as well. So yeah, you can find us everywhere. And if you have interest for our product, please take a look at it. There's a free trial as well, so you can just jump right into it. We have a blog too with some case studies, so you can see how there's one how Rovio changed and improved their IPM by 15% while lowering their cost per install by 20% at the same time. So yeah, feel free to take a look.
It's not just the A/B testing. You can A/B test. You can validate your ideas, just like someone had earlier the question benchmark, which Jesse showed a lot of. I love that part of it as well. Geeklab.app. Jesse, thank you so much for coming on. Joe, thank you so much for coming on. AJ, thank you. Kyle was the Kidcentric on the internal external. I like the internal external name. Congrats. Yeah. AJ, maybe you can ask Kyle what he's using for them. But Joe says there's a bunch of turnkey onboarding solutions on GitHub.
Right.
And then, yeah, we'll see you next week. Next week, guys, I have an ASO that by filling out an app audit, I picked one of the apps and I said, look, I'm going to do a premium ASO for you. So we did an ASO project together. I did it all for free. It's benefits of filling out that form. And I'm going to share that case study with you guys, how we approach ASO, how we actually did all the keyword research, how we optimized, and what campaigns we ran to grow downloads and sales. And we're going to share all those numbers. So thank you, Rudy, for letting me do this with you. But we're going to share all those numbers next week, next Friday. So say goodbye to Eric. Put a pause on Eric's channel and come to this channel next Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We're going to share all those details. You don't want to miss it. You're going to watch me do ASO live with the results as well. Jesse, I'm going to make it like a cooking show, you know, where they put these little ingredients and poof, they got like a beautiful meal. That's what I'm going to do next week.
Definitely tuning in.
Jesse, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was great.
Thank you for having me.
Geeklab.app. Go check them out, guys. Jesse, thank you, man. I'll see you guys
Thanks.
next week.
Thanks.
Bye. You want to flex for me, Jesse? Oh,
yeah,
you got a sweater
sure.
on.